My brother. What's your name?
My name is Jorge Sierra.
Say that's the last name.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was going to be a Jorge Sierra.
Yeah. Spanish people, I have like 3, 4, 5 last names. Jorge Sierra, but they call me G Wills, a.k.a., all that good stuff. So.
Word. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up born in Puerto Rico. Okay. I was raised in CT and the Bronx, New York. Okay. But I've been in Worcester since '96, so I'm from Worcester. I'm from Worcester. Yeah. We don't do that whole. I'm from New York and be like, yo, wait, how long you been out here? Well, I've been out here for 20. No, you from Worcester, bro. I'm from Worcester.
So for the most part, you was raised.
I was raised in CT, born in PR, raised in CT, and back and forth from the Bronx. But I got here at the age, I want to say, at the age of 18. So yeah,
was there a lot of back and forth to CT?
Nah, that was just a one transition.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, and we could get into that, but that was definitely one transition. It was one of those things that this is not it.
Okay, you just had a new scenery, new environment. I hear that. You have any siblings?
I do. I have 3 sisters on the mom's side. I'm the oldest, and then I have a brother and a sister. Brother passed away about maybe 10 years ago, and I'm the oldest on that side of family too.
You guys close?
I'm closer more. Yeah. I'm closer to my. I grew up more with my mom's side of things. But I grew up with grandma, and my sisters were raised more with my mother. So me and mom had me when she was 15. So we were more like brothers and sisters, if that makes sense.
Nah, yeah, that close, super close.
Yeah. So we got raised by the same lady, which was grandma.
It's like tough household growing up.
Tough household. Growing up, it was one of those things, man, that I always let people know that we come from a long line of welfare recipients. And when I say that, it's just, we all, as I can remember when I was young, it was government assistance in all angles. Drug abuse at the household, right? So I had 2 male figures in my house. So I didn't grow up with no father. Okay. And the only 2 male figures I had at home was grandpa and my uncle. My uncle was actually mom's brother. Grandpa was actually, he wasn't blood. He was just someone that was in the picture because it was my aunt's father. But those individuals were, since I can remember, man, age of 6, running around the house, running from room to room, catching them with needles in their hand and their arms. And, that was the exposure. That was the norm. It was just, chaos. I tell people that, growing up, I learned how to fight more in the house than what I did outside. So, yeah.
So was that like a regular day for you growing up? What'd you do like on a regular day-to-day?
Yeah, so growing up, we moved a lot. So we wasn't settled. And what I mean by that is like, we would probably be somewhere for a year, and then we moved to a different household, a different part of the city. So that was a struggle. So I was always a new kid in school. Fought a lot because I was always a new kid in school. At home, there was always just the chaos. Family loved me, man. Like, I could never say that they didn't love me, but they did what they could do and what they knew to do. In my household was grandma, great-grandma, female cousins, so a lot of females in the household. And like I said, my uncle and my grandfather were the only ones. But I learned from an early age, is like, and I would reflect back in the house, and I would reflect at everybody and say, I don't want that. Like, you're either a victim or victor. And at the time I just knew there was no options. That they we lived off whatever, the government gave us, or whatever that, society wanted to say was for us. And I just remembered a long time, like, nah, that can't be it. So the majority in the house, about maybe the age of 6, 7, then I started stepping outside, and you start seeing everybody around the block, and you start seeing individuals with shiny little things, and you start jumping into puberty, and you start thinking about girls, and
like
you start
influences around.
Influences in ways where, to be honest with you, were all around, but because I always picked up and went, it was never established. I think when I started really just saying enough is enough, in the sense of like, I didn't want nothing to do with whatever that was, It was around the age of 15.
And how were your role models, your male role models growing up?
None.
No good role models?
Nah. I mean, I had role models, but they weren't good.
That's what I mean. Like, did you have any positive role models?
I didn't know. I'm telling you, I grew up. I grew up in a space where the mindset was, you're not going to disrespect me, because I understood that what I could observe is that you either a victim or a victor. Like, that's the best way to explain it. And I always used to say to myself, I ain't gonna be that punk. I ain't gonna be somebody disrespect me. And that created this persona of I don't care attitude. Like, I don't care. You're not gonna disrespect me. It don't matter where we at, who you are, what's what. And through that transition as a child and going from school to school and dealing with the challenges of being the new guy and people, whether either just for being funny, trying to disrespect you, I built this ego of, like,
you gotta stand on that.
Like I'm gonna stand on it. Like, because you're not, like, I got tired, you get tired of it. And so by the time I hit 15, I was a lot more mature than a lot of other individuals around me. So I was more leading than following, if that makes sense. I found myself always in position to just like, nah, we're not doing that. If I felt it was a lack of disrespect in any way, shape, or form. But it catered from just home, from if grandma bought me a pair of Jordans, or and I didn't clean the dishes, she'll crack my head open, right? Like bro, and throw it in my face. And I just grew up with like, yo, I don't want nothing from no one, because I don't want nobody to hold me to that. To they did something for me. And this is where we talk about trauma, right? This is where the programming starts coming in.
What, did you get in a lot of trouble in school? A lot of fights, suspensions?
Believe it or not, yeah. Yeah, believe it or not, in school, I was good. I was actually good. In school, I actually didn't mind school. I got into some fights in school because I had a problem with anybody just being, coming out like we're not doing that. Like, it didn't matter where it was in front of the principal. It didn't matter. It was in the classroom. And I didn't hang around with 5, 6 dudes. It was just me. And so I would give you the hands. It didn't matter where it was. So I had that problem. But it wasn't a constant thing, because after you step to 10 toes down, people start understanding, like, I'm gonna have to just fight this dude, and it's not even worth it. I think that my transition from school to the streets was more where I had my freshman year, and I remember hitting my freshman year. And mind you, I was never disrespected in school, unless somebody, but with teachers, anything like that. I was not a problem child. And I think that's why I always call it the middle child syndrome. When you're in school, that you have your high achievers. They pretty much run the school or the classroom. Like, they get to do whatever because they just do, they teach us pat. Then you have those that are extremely active. And so now their attention, they get sent to the office. So I was just in between. And I think that because of that, just that level where I was, a lot of students fall through the cracks. And I believe I fell through the cracks. And what I mean by that, freshman year start, high school looks big. I don't have no friends because we moved a lot. So anybody that came from middle school, I didn't know. So I was going into a whole big situation without even knowing anyone. But I was intrigued, signed up for basketball. I got cut. I remember that. Your boy couldn't play ball, but I was just like, I have to try, because I was intrigued, which I just love sports. Then we did football, and I was able to make it, and that was a sweet season. I think it was football was probably a couple months into the season. By the end of the season, we had an amazing season, and I coach was cool, and I had some challenges because while we were going to practices, game, nobody would show up for me, and you could see other parents showing up for class, teammates and stuff like that. So that was a challenge, but I was geeked the fact that this is the first time I was actually part of any organized team. That I was geeked. I was geeked about the working out. I was geeked about
were they welcoming? Like, when you made the team, it was like.
It wasn't. I had a couple of fights within the team because it was a majority Caucasian individuals. So I was in a school where mind you, in my journey through the years, I would end up in a school where either they were all African American or all Caucasian.
You're a minority in any way.
In any way, or even if there was just people that looked like me, I was still the minority because I was the outsider.
Right.
So yeah, I had a couple of, I had to set some straight because I think, and I don't think it was personal. I think it was just seniors being seniors, and they were trying to trying to run up on the freshmen. And I'm like, we're not doing that. Like we're not.
We not a shirt and we're not doing that.
Especially playing football.
You know what I'm saying? They're trying to haze, and I remember one time there was like these chains on the wall, and I wrapped up. I was like, bro, we're not. And so I had a show, and then after that everything was cool because then the value in the football field. So, but after the season was over, what I didn't know is that you need to be illegible. And so I wasn't doing no schoolwork. And so I wasn't able to continue taking sports. And I made a decision at the time because education was not celebrated at home. So nobody really checked on. Since I can remember, nobody sat down with me and did a project.
In high school, when talking about the high school stories, what was this in CT?
This was in Bristol Central.
Okay.
Same high school, ironically, of Aaron Hernandez.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody does that. Like, oh. Okay. Yeah, Bristol. So, yeah, same high school. High school.
You got a religious background?
I do. Not a bad, and I didn't grow up. I grew up in Santeria. You know what Santeria is? Somewhat like witchcraft. It's like, they call it white magic or, So I grew up in that. That was my background. But I'm a Christian now. And I got saved when I was 15, 14. And obviously I didn't follow the religion, but that's when I met God. As of right now, as a man, I'm a man of Christ. I'm definitely Christian and always seeking to be that version of myself that is serving and really just looking to create the value that's needed.
All right. Were you involved in any gang activity growing up?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was part of the Land Kings back home, and that was just pretty much through my whole teens, all the way until I came out here to Worcester.
How did your family react to the gang activity or involvement?
Listen, so I think it was that freshman year, I decided that's when everything started kind of like, I decided that I was like, I'm not going to sit here no more. So I after the whole season was over, I couldn't play any sports, so I decided to drop out, and I dropped out. So I'm a 9th grade dropout. I became a king at the time, and that went really quick, right? You look back and you think it was a lifetime, and it was like, that was only a couple of years. And as when you're young, you think time is just like, it's like, I think of a childhood friend that I'm like, that's my man. I would do. Come to find out, I really just rocked with him for 4 years.
I only knew him for 4 years.
And for me, that was just a lifetime. And I had to really check myself just the last couple of years because people tend to come back around. But their values our values are different. Not that they're bad people or anything like that, but I'm in a space where there has to be alignment. You know what I'm saying? I'm not better than anybody or anything like that, but I realized just through thinking through that, it was just like, my man, we just known each other for 4 years. We don't owe each other anything, So through that process of me dropping out, I immersed myself into the streets and fully blown gun activity, drug activity, gang activity, and 2 years after that is where I got put in the chair.